Welcome back, everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made this sign out of reclaimed barn wood, and to really make it pop, adding some LED strip lighting. I've been working on cleaning up my shop a little bit and adding a few new storage areas. Looking at what I have here, this wall, that wall right there feels a little blank to me. I wanted to make something to put there to be as a nice backdrop for my videos, but I need to keep this space kind of open because as I bring in large things from the basement stairs, I need to be able to get in here. So I can't really put any kind of furniture against this wall. Maybe a sign right there would be a good thing to kind of put there to make a nice backdrop. Also, I don't think you've all met Winston. This is Winston. He is new to us. We've had him for a couple months now, and he's a rescue, and he's been pretty great so far. He likes sticks. He likes playing with sticks. All right, Winston, you're good, Winston. Can you sit? Good boy. So I think for today's project, I'm gonna try and make a sign for this part of the wall back here, and I do have some wood I want to use. There it is. This is genuine barn wood. It's probably close to 10 feet or so. And I originally was gonna get these to make a table out of, but some of the pieces are so worn through and rotted that it would be hit and miss to get enough material probably to make an actual proper table. I definitely have enough to fill that space with this wide board, which is just under 8 inches right now, and 1 inch exactly thick. I want to keep this texture. So I'm gonna do just a little bit of cleanup. I'm not gonna joint it or plane it to get it super smooth. I wanna keep this rustic quality. And that will be the first step, and then we'll figure out how to make a larger blank out of this piece and possibly another one. This is a terrible mess. Probably better to do this outside with a little more open and fresh air. There's just too much natural rot in these boards to make something substantial like a table. But for a sign, it'd be great. Back inside, and here's how they turned out. Pretty nice, I think pretty good. These did come out of a barn that I believe got torn down shortly after I took these out. So they are the real deal. If anyone wants to trade stickers, I'm all about it. I got a whole bunch that I'd be willing to share with anybody. So send me yours, I'll send you mine. I'll add it to the board. I think I would like to actually put my logo in on that back wall. You get the idea. Maybe put this in on a circle like this. Maybe have some lights coming from behind this. Or the other idea would be to make this circle, and we cut a circle out of it. From this shape, actually do a negative carve. So we carve out this shape. Put lights behind this piece so that the lights were to shine through in this area, this area, and this area. Actually, that could be kind of cool. I kind of like that idea. And lights could also maybe go out behind this thing too. I think that's a plan. It's a plan now. Here's what I have so far. Let's call it 33 wide by 42 tall. So I gave myself some extra room. I think I'd prefer to have the sign sit this way. The proper way to build a sign like this with your boards would be to run these edges through something like a jointer so that the edges are nice and smooth, and when you glue them together, there's no gaps. Great glue up. These, however, they're old, they're brittle, they're fragile, they're really splintery. I'm afraid running these through the jointer would just cause more havoc and more damage to the edges than what's already here. I'm gonna forego that step. I'm just gonna use some dowel pins and glue, a lot of clamping pressure, keep this piece together. Well, I guess I gotta use these. It's the only size that I currently have. I've shown this before. This came from the hardware store. It's not fancy. It was not very expensive at all. This, along with this drill bit back here, these plugs will do just fine. So, just gonna make some marks across both boards. And then I'll just stand these up, use a square, and transfer that mark from that back side to the edge where I want to drill. Get the mark centered in this hole, clamp it down. Just put the drill bit in to make sure I'm on that line. And what I do is use one of my chalk markers, like from my chalkboard over there. I just put a little mark on the drill bit right here so I don't overshoot or undershoot. Give it a little test fit. Just like that. We'll repeat the same process for the rest of them. Don't attempt to glue this first without doing a dry fit. Go. Good, just like that. And now some glue in each one of those holes. Dowels will absorb the glue, expand, and make this a nice tight joint. A lot of clamps. We'll do the other two. I have both halves glued up here, and I'm gonna follow the exact same process to join them together. This has had 24 hours to dry, all 4 pieces put together, and it is now one panel. And so now the big question is, how do I get that thing onto here? What I would normally do is get pieces of paper and have it printed to the size I want, lay them on here, and then stencil or trace or cut directly from the paper to this piece so that it's an outline, and then cut out the remaining signed pieces from the paper template. Unfortunately, the printer that we did have no longer is supported by HP. They literally took off the driver support from their website. So we are without printer. I do have another idea here. Obviously, if you don't have a projector, you can definitely print your image on paper and paste it, trace it, do whatever you gotta do to transfer it to the panel. I just put a small mark in the corners of the logo, and then I'm gonna connect the dots. I don't know if you can see it, but the pencil started pulling up some of the surface here and splintering it. So I'm going to take the knife and go over all the lines just to kind of break up this surface a little bit and maybe hopefully make a cleaner cut. If you do a sign like this, this is a negative treatment. So make sure you know which pieces you're cutting out. My small pieces here are the pieces I'm cutting out. I want to save these big pieces. I don't want to ruin those because I need to attach those to the sign in the very end. You may have noticed that this piece just came out, but it really should be attached to this piece. And that didn't hold up there, that glue joint, which is fine. Rejoin those 2 pieces and that piece will be all set, ready to go. And the cutout is complete. Here are the 2 positive pieces that I need to save. That one goes in the center, and that was the part I glued up. Wanted to show you this. How lucky was that I cut that piece right there, halfway through that dowel. You can go buy a lottery ticket. I'm using a 1/2 inch sheet of plywood for the backer of the sign. I'm just realizing that I want this to be the part that faces out, so I should be doing this all on the back side. Hold on. The next part to figure out is how to attach the front of the sign to the back, the hanging piece. So what I have done is just cut some scrap pieces of wood to act as the spacers between the front and the back, and I'll attach those to the sign and then ultimately attach those to that piece there. And what I'm thinking for the LED tape light is that it will sit in between the logo and the support blocks. So that tape will fit in this space all the way around, and then it will hopefully reflect back into that backer piece and then illuminate out from there. One thing I did do on the back of these is take a chisel and just smooth out the portions where these little spacers are going to sit. Really helps make a better contact between this and that. The glue is still drying here, but I am going to go back and add a screw in the front on each one of the supports, just a small little one. You see, I'm just going to put one of these on each support through the front, so the face is more attached to those supports. I'll do the same thing on the back side and drive some screws from the back into those supports as well. Everything will be nice and tight. This manufacturer provided the support pieces that are very rubbery and very pliable, flexible. They might as well not even include them. They're absolutely worthless. I decided to use plastic cable supports, took the nails out, and just used the screws from the other ones in these, and it worked a lot better. This was the big glue up. I started with the piece in the center, glued that in, let it sit for a little while, and then I put some glue on the support to the big piece, put it in place, and then let everything dry for a good long time. This project has been on my list for quite some time to do, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So let's talk about the barn wood. Let's say you don't have access to actual barn wood. You can still replicate this look. You can do it with regular pine boards. You beat them up with a chain, hammer, with nails, throw some dirt on it, put some stain on it, make it look old and vintage and worn out. You can achieve a very similar and authentic look. You don't need actual barn wood to make this happen. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.